If you struggle with shyness or social anxiety, check out our free No BS training course with actual useful advice you can do from home. None of that just get out there nonsense. The link is in the description below. For now, let's get to today's question.
The question: how do I stop being so shy to touch my boyfriend? Answer by Abida Mian. Dear Jane, you were like me years ago. I was very introverted and shy, but if you allow yourself to open up, you really don't know what you're missing. Showing and receiving affection is the best thing ever. I wish it hadn't taken so long to overcome my shyness. With age and experience, I've learned to work on my fears. Now I always hug and kiss, on cheeks, people I know. It takes time to trust people, but unless your boyfriend has given you a reason and had to, then love with an open heart. Sure, there's no guarantee that you won't get hurt, but you'd be missing out on life if you put up barriers for anyone to get close. He may also misinterpret the lack of affection as perhaps you not liking him. Unless your boyfriend is already aware, just tell him you're scared. The reverse: if a guy told me that, I'd be cool with it, and take things slowly, at a pace that suits him. As long as I knew he did like me, the rest we can work at tackling together. Best, Abby. Answer by Edward Anderson. Thank you for the A2A. First, I'm sorry about your previous negative experience with the former boyfriend. He took liberties to which he was not entitled. There are people among the general population who do not respect others and their personal space, even among the religious. However, it is worth pointing out that not every guy is like that. More specifically, your current boyfriend is not your previous boyfriend. Intellectually, you know this. It's obvious, isn't it? But emotionally, you're approaching new boyfriend as if he's a carbon copy of the old guy. Give him a chance to hug and age. You'll seize the opportunity to grope. But I don't think most guys are like that. If you tell us what your boundaries are, we'll generally stay within them. Oh, we may try to push out the boundaries now and again, that's kind of in our nature, but if you firmly but gently enforce the boundaries, we'll get back in line. You are right, though, touching does require a certain level of trust, and trust certainly can be scary. So how do we build trust? There are a number of things you can do. You can remind yourself that this boyfriend is the same guy as the one who violated your trust. Tell yourself that this boyfriend has not done anything to erode your trust. And you can put yourself into controlled situations wherein you can gauge his trustworthiness. During my brief foray into the acting world, we sometimes trained ourselves to trust our stage mates by doing the trust fall. Everyone stands in a line, and the person at the head of the line closes his eyes, straightens and stiffens his spine, and leans backwards until he starts to fall. The next person in line catches him or her before they can injure themselves on the floor, and sets them back upright. Then the person at the head goes to the tail of the line, and it's time for the next person to close their eyes and fall. A primary trust in that exercise is between the person falling and the next person in line who is supposed to catch them. But I found that the place where trust is really built is when you've got a big guy like me in front of a little slip of a person who couldn't possibly stop my fall after I build up some momentum, but the next people in line step in to help. You see, it's one thing to lean back and fall into someone's arms when you know that everyone is watching them and putting enormous pressure on them to catch you. The faller in that situation knows that, even if the tiny person behind doesn't catch you and stop your fall, at least they'll cushion the impact with the floor. But when you're faced with an impossible task of catching a falling giant, and people, who aren't under any expectation to help you, actually do step in and assist you without being asked, that's when you know you can trust them. You know they're paying attention, and will step up when you need them to. I'm not saying you need to do the trust fall with this guy. I'm saying you can engineer circumstances to put you in a place of needing to trust him, and when he rises to the occasion, you can add that to the I can trust him side of the teeter-totter. When you feel you have enough trust in him, you can start allowing him to touch you under controlled circumstances, with clear boundaries, and ask him to stop if you get overwhelmed with anxiety. If he's a good guy, he'll stop, and you can add another item to the trust bank. If he's not a good guy, he won't stop, but you can take control and remove yourself from the situation and stop seeing him. Life is too short to hang out with guys who aren't good. If the anxiety is just overwhelming all the time, maybe you should find a good cognitive behavior therapist in your area, and see whether they can help you. Best of luck, my friend. Answer by Soretta Williams. Thank you for the A2A. I'm not sure of your age, so I'm just going to talk to you as if you were my daughter. People, for the most part, are good. I'm not saying everyone is trustworthy, it's just where I'm starting. Most people don't touch others inappropriately. If you are in someone's way, and they touch you on the shoulders or waist as they walk behind you, it's nothing more than someone who doesn't want you to fall because they are squeezing past. If you are excited to see someone, anyone, and run across the room to give them a big hug, that's nothing more than showing someone you care. People need to be touched. I'm sure there is some science behind it, and I'm supposing there are people who don't need it, but that's what bonding with an infant is all about. Many mothers who breastfeed have chosen to do so because it's a way of bonding by touch. So, you have to establish your personal boundaries, and then decide to get assistance, maybe a counselor, to help you sort things out. I'm suggesting this, because I'm not sure if you have similar problems with other people. If it's just with him, because he's a guy, I'd say by the time you have decided to be boyfriend and girlfriend, hand-holding and kissing would be an acceptable boundary. But, what I'm most concerned about, is that you need to be able to separate good, appropriate, touching than inappropriate or unwanted. If you haven't discussed this at home or school, again, depending on age, something like that would be helpful.